How to write when you're not a writer. As a business owner, you're called upon to manage a variety of tasks. But because content is so important, one of those tasks is writing. You have content to create. And this can be scary and potentially overwhelming. Many people fear writing or put it off because they don't consider themselves to be, quote, writers. But there is good news. You don't have to be a writer to write good content for your website. There's a difference between content published in newspapers and magazines and content that's published on most websites. The content in your website doesn't need to appeal to a broad audience. It also doesn't need to be on a very broad topic. It's, as a matter of fact, just the opposite. Your content needs to be very specific. For example, maybe you wrote a 10 tips to bake better chocolate chip cookies. Now, it provides value to a very specific target audience. And if you have a website about chocolate chip cookies or baking, then you can write this article without even thinking about it. You know it. The information is already inside you. Web content is more conversational. Content is written to feel personal, as if you're speaking to your audience. You'll use words like you and your, and sometimes if you're writing a blog post, you'll use I and me and we. These are not words you'll find in a piece of journalism unless they're in quotes. Newspapers and magazines are generally a lot more formal. They use a third-person perspective. Additionally, web content is formatted for easy reading. You'll use a lot of bullet points, lists, numbers, and headings and subheadings to break up your content into bite-sized pieces. So, what does all this mean if you're not a, quote, writer? It means that writing content for your website is pretty straightforward. You write what you know and what your audience will benefit. You write conversationally. You write it so that it's easy to read online. The simplest method to use when you're writing your online content is to spend just a few minutes creating the structure for your article. Write a rough headline and maybe some subheadings, then fill in the content. Write as if you're writing a letter to a friend. Don't worry about grammar or spelling and all that on your first draft. You can go back and edit for clarity later. Once you have your thoughts down on paper, polish it up. Add your keywords in to optimize for search engines and publish it. Test and track your articles and content to evaluate what content your readers respond to. And with a little confidence and a plan, you can write content to build and grow your online business.